Hi everybody, welcome to Organizational Leadership 602. That's ORGL 602, Building Healthy Culture and Performance. This is going to be our first session, and I want to give you a kind of overview. I just think this is so important because I believe so much that healthy people who are relating well, who have great culture, do well. There was a day before the research on culture. Culture started to be studied back in the 80s by IBM, and we've learned so much then. But there was a day before that, and even more recently, where people thought, well, culture, oh yeah, that means we have barbecues and we give people a card to Starbucks and give them an attaboy, and it's so much more important than that. It has to do with everything. And that's why I love what Peter Drucker says. I have learned so much from Drucker. One of my favorite statements from him is, culture will eat strategy for breakfast. Now you just put that on your bedpost. Culture will eat strategy for breakfast. You can have the best product, best strategy, best systems and ops, and if your culture's weak, guys, it will not decelerate your growth curve, and I've seen this happen a lot of times. It will tank your growth curve. You won't be going up at a lesser rate. You will start going down. So pay attention, because if you've got hardworking people with great systems, great ops, great service, blah, 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 everything's ready, and you've got people with great culture, you can't lose. Great Bible verse here, by the way, is in Exodus 33, verse 19, where Moses is praying, and he says, if you're pleased with me, teach me your ways so that I may know you and continue to find favor with you. Remember this nation is your people. And here Moses is saying, I want to know your ways, because whatever your ways are, I want them to be my people's ways. And that's really what culture is. We'll talk about my definition later. It's about how people relate and their attitudes and their behavior in a way that drives performance. But that's what Moses is saying. What's your culture, God? How do you do things? What's important for you? Because I want to relate in the way that you do with us so that we can do a good job. So here's some of the course learning objectives. Identify the key elements of a healthy organizational culture that leads to high performance and the research that establishes these elements. And what a great day to learn this. And I mean day in a big picture way, because there's so much great research. Industry is spending billions of dollars understanding culture now, so it's really cool that we get to be the beneficiaries and learn from this. Next one is understand the impact of negative organizational cultures on individuals, teams, the entire organization, and performance. Here's the point. There's never, how do I say a double negative right? There's never no culture. There's always culture. You can have toxic culture, dysfunctional culture, you can have healthy culture, or you can be in a trend line moving one way to the other. So we got to look at the negatives. For example, one example is culture of fear. And I've worked with so many organizations where somebody who was in touch said, we've got problems of communicating, and I show up, and the person in touch who wanted me to come in there, maybe it was the HR person, they were the only person. They were like the person that was yelling that the emperor has no clothes, right? Everybody else is afraid. And I walk in, and the CEO and the president are like, everything's fine here. We're doing great. We don't have any problems. And I go, God, everybody's terrified. And I'd say, how's things going here in my little session with a middle manager? It's great. And you could tell they're just terrified because they're afraid of getting reprisal because the culture says, always put your positive side forward. Really toxic culture. Now when the CEO, the owner, the president, and when they say we got a problem, it's a lot better, because if somebody below is the only person that sees it, it's really hard. Sometimes it hasn't worked very well because the entire system said we got to stay toxic. Most time it worked because people are listening to this more. Evaluate an organization's culture and identify whether the elements of healthy culture exist or don't exist and to what degree. And so we're just going to take you through that so that you know what they are. We want you to have a sort of a pair of lenses on, so that you know, here's the basic elements. How do they trust? How do they own? Things like that. How do they make decisions? How do they challenge each other? How do they pull together? This sort of thing. So you can evaluate. It's sort of like a little report card, like a doctor. When I go to get my blood panels from my doctor to see if I'm healthy or not this year, he goes down the lines. Here's where your triglycerides are, and here's your cholesterol. Same thing. I want you to just have kind of a way to look at that. You want to have a program. Here's how this company's doing, so you can tell them, or your own company, here's what we've got to work on. Here's what we're doing really well. We've got to pay attention to these. Implement personal and corporate strategies to establish a healthy culture. And this just means that these things work when they're done on a macro level and a micro level. So you start with the macro, okay, how can the organization move us to health, but also who are going to be the champions of this, and also not only who's going to be the champions, but how does each person's behavior and attitude get affected by this? Because the more you've got it, the entire system has got the virus of good culture. Everybody cares about it. Identify the drivers of individual performance and those skills that enhance performance. So, I've got a nine element model of drivers. Anything from driven by the vision to they just want to have friends, right? So, what are the things that matter? We'll take you to the drivers. Develop the leadership skills that enhance the performance of those being led. And now you're getting to it because you're not only working in the business on the E-Myth level, but you're working on the business. Who are the people that are going to be the rock stars that can communicate this? It's not all me anymore. Now you're getting somewhere. That's where it gets exciting. Identify interpersonal traits and in an individual that create a presence of safety. Very, very important. What is a person who helps other people feel safe? Like on a strength finders level, are they people that are inclusive? Are they warm? Do they move toward the negative without having a problem? Do they listen well while still attending to task? You'll be able to identify those. You want to have them as well as people you're training. Account for potential obstacles in developing a healthy organizational culture and strategies to overcome them. This is about change management because everything resists change. I resist change. I want to get my routine. I don't want to have disruptive stuff happen, but disruptive is where the growth is. So when people resist and say, we've never done it that way, that's too much, how can we attend to what we're doing and do all this stuff? You've got to have the answers to say, yeah, well, I know that you're spending this much time doing this. We're going to take this away from you or put this on the table so you'll have time to do this. It's your job to not add that to their workload, but to make their workload workable so they can work on culture, and we'll help you do that. So very fun stuff, very relational stuff, and it really gets the organization going. So I hope it's going to be a good course for you.